Hello there. This is a Jayman Show on WBCA 102.9 FM, Boston's local community radio station. I'm your host, Jaiye Bynoe, and my guest today is Jaimie Engle, a award-winning producer, screenwriter. Hey, Jaimie, good to see you on the show today. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. How are you?
I'm wonderful. It's so good to see you on the show, and I've learned so much about you. I mean, the movies you produced, the screenplay. So can you tell me a little bit about yourself, and what got you started and wanted to be a producer in film?
Sure. I've been writing since I was a little girl, and that's always been the dream, to write something that I can see on the big screen. And so I wrote about 15 books. And then in 2021, I decided I was ready to test my skills at being a screenwriter. And I switched gears, was blessed to have some wonderful people come into my life and open doors for me so that I was able to have my first film that I wrote produced and heading to network television. And they, because it was my story, I am listed as a co-producer. So I was able to receive that first credit.
Oh, that's wonderful to hear. So aside from producing, I mean, what's it like to be a famous producer? Have you met any wonderful actors like celebrities out there?
No, I am a baby in this industry.
Oh,
So I live in Florida,
yeah,
and so I have not like the first film,
yeah.
Just Jake, that we just wrapped in December of 2022. I was not able to even get on set. So I've communicated with the stars, with Rob and with Brittany. Brittany Bristow and Rob Mays were my lead characters. So I was able to like communicate with them via social media, but I never actually got to meet them. Not yet.
Okay. I see. Wow. So what projects are you working on right now for this year coming out?
So the film is currently in post production, and then it has already been picked up for distribution by the Up TV Faith and Family Network and the Super Channel Heart and Home in the Canada area. So right now, my role is just to continue to share the promotions as they come out, as the new music comes out, and hopefully hit some of the charts for the Just Jake movie. They had original music written for it, and then we'll go obviously on TV. And then I was fortunate to be able to retain the book rights. So I did write a novelization of the movie. And it's based off of my original script, not necessarily what we're all going to watch,
Mhm.
but the original script that I sold is what I based my book off of. So that comes out in late August of 2023.
Oh, that's wonderful to hear. Now, aside from producing, do you also want to be an actress and star in your films too?
No, I have no desire to act. I did that in the 90s when I was in middle school and high school here in Florida, when the film industry was pretty booming in Orlando, with Universal Studios having lots and a lot of film incentives. So I was an alien on Sequest, and I met Urkel when they did the big Disney um, the show that took place at Disney World when he proposed, I think.
Yeah.
And I was like on LA Law in Miami. So I did a couple of small acting gigs, a Universal commercial as a principal. But I just wasn't very good at it. I was too worried about what I was supposed to be, what they wanted to put in the role, as opposed to just bringing my interpretation of the role to the table and seeing if they liked what they saw. So I just wasn't a very good actress at the time.
Wow, I see. I see you met Steve Urkel. I met Gino right too. He was a wonderful man. He's
Oh
wonderful.
my gosh, yeah. He is a sweetheart. Very, very nice, down to earth. I mean, with all the fame at his age,
Yeah.
you wouldn't know that he was famous just talking to him. He was a wonderful guy.
Yeah. I also met Davis McCoy and Kelly Williams. They were both very nice. Yeah.
Nice, very cool.
So what advice
And
can yeah. So what advice can you give, our producers and actors that want to be famous or want to act, what advice can you give them?
well, I mean, I'm a screenwriter first and foremost, but I do feel that we're all part of the same process and the same end goal, which is to share our creative arts with the world, leave a legacy, make a difference. So I think that for all of us, the best things we can do are the things we have control over, and that is to get better at our craft and to network, because that's really all we control. When I write a script and I send it to a producer, there's not much more I can do, except for wait for them to either love the project and go find the funding and then bring me back on board. But if I don't have a great script that they want to invest, millions of dollars and years of their lives into, then I'm not going to get picked. So if I work every day writing or acting or learning budgeting, if you want to be in the production side or whatever area you like, if you spend every day learning something, studying, continuing ed, while also doing, writing every day, learning a new monologue, doing a small social media post where you're pretending to be whoever. I think those are the only things we really have control over as creatives as we're moving our way up the ladder.
Okay, yeah, that's good advice. I understand that. Yeah. So how do you deal? How do you deal with rejection? I mean, rejection. How does it affect you?
Nobody likes to be rejected, but it's part of the business. So if you don't understand that and you can't be okay with that, then you probably can't be in this business as a creative. There are a million other ways you can be involved. You can be on the set. You can be an agent. You can be, well, I guess you get rejected too for that. You can be a scouting person, location scouter. There's a lot of other things you can do. But for me personally, when I get a rejection, I always try and find out, was it something in the work that I could improve so that I could get a better reaction next time? Or was this just the person's opinion? Or they didn't have the funding, or they just produced something similar. There's a million reasons. So I try and understand why. And just because they didn't like it doesn't mean they're correct. Just because someone said, "Hey, I like this idea, but I think it needs to be funnier or more serious." If I don't agree, then I don't need to change it. So I like to get some feedback when I can, but also know that at the end it's my vision and my project, and if I don't agree with their suggestions, then I don't have to change it. There's somebody else out there and I just need to go find them.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. So we all know that there's a lot of fake websites for actors, right? How do you know how can you tell in your opinion which is real, which is not, and which is not fake? So we don't get.
Great question. You have some great questions, by the way. These are all wonderful. I think the best way to do it is when you network, you have a small, close community of people that have the same goals as you, and everybody probably brings a little bit of knowledge to the table that fills in the other people's shortcomings. So I think it's good to have a small group of people, or even an online community of trusted professionals that you can go in and say, "Hey, has anybody heard of this company?" Because I've done that before and I've gotten, "Oh, they're great," or, "Oh, no, 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 don't go there." And sometimes I've been the person saying, "Yeah, you don't want to go to that website," because I've gone there, I've researched, etc. So I think having that network of people, real people that you can trust and go to, will help all of us to filter out the vomit that's out there. And then if there's a way we can pass that along so that we can save other people from having to stumble, I think that's kind of our responsibility once we learn that this isn't a good site or this is a good site, right? We want to share that too.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah. So what inspires you? What gives you inspiration and hope to do what you do?
I love storytelling. I feel that there's a world out there that just, it doesn't make sense on a lot of fronts, but it's also there's just so much magic in humanity and in our being on this earth. And I just feel that it's my God-given gift to write stories that have a hint of magic, to take people out of this world into worlds just beyond our own, because that's where I like to live. I like to live in that space right between dreaming and waking. And that is where I like to live. So those are the kinds of stories I like to tell.
That's wonderful to hear. So how did COVID affect you if everything being shut down?
For me, I switched from books to film. It affected me very negatively with the books, obviously. I had a lot of bookings, speaking, signings that I couldn't follow through with, obviously. I was very upset about that, and it felt very stifling to not be able to share my work. And that was around the time when I met my entertainment attorney by chance or by God's grace, however you want to look at it. And so it was good for me for the film side because he was able to take the time to say, this is how the industry looks. We're going to be about 3 years behind. So this is a good time for you to start building your resume and start writing some screenplays and get a little bit of work under your belt. So that way, when they are starting to look again, you'll be ready to compete and have the new project available. So for me, it was a good time because of that coincidental timing with meeting the entertainment attorney.
Okay, and where do you see yourself years from now? Still producing screenplays or writing down the line?
Yeah, I would like to get more heavily involved into production. My son he'll be 16 in May, so I have a couple more years home with the baby.
Ah,
My oldest son just graduated college in December of 2022, so I'm really close to being able to travel more, to actually go to these film sets and be on set and be on pre-production and be more involved with the production of it. But I do want to continue writing. My goal is to take my projects, my books, adapt them into films, get into some writing rooms, and just see my stories on the big screen and continue to write and teach other creatives best practices in both writing and their managing of their business.
I see. That's wonderful to hear. Did you go to college yourself?
I did. I received an associate's degree, just a general. I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to be when I grew up. I still don't know. But so I didn't take a lot of traditional education, but I have spent many hours and many dollars on continuing education classes and conferences and mentorship programs and things of that nature to try to improve my craft in all aspects, from writing to producing to marketing products and services.
That's wonderful. Because I have my associate's degree too in liberal arts. So,
Oh,
and,
perfect.
yeah,
Yeah, it's nice to have it. It's a lot of work.
definitely. Especially when being in this business, So yeah, yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. So do you plan to go on to do you plan to go on a book tour for the next project? Or
I would always love to go on a book tour. Generally, because I am independently published, all of my books are created in my publishing house and my comic books as well. With my creative partner, Cool as Heck, we have a comic book company. So I do my books, we do our comics, and we have booked ourselves independently and together at a lot of upcoming events. They're all on my website. I do know, for example, in February that I'll be in the Sci-Fi Bartow area in Florida in the middle of the month, and then the last weekend of the month I'll be in Atlanta at the Atlanta Comic Con. So we're excited to get out of Florida and go hang out with some of my Atlanta friends. So yeah, so just that's it for now as far as book tour goes. But I would love one day to be in a position where I'm launching something that has enough merit and enough buzz behind it to where I could actually go on a tour and work my way up to the Boston area.
yeah, it'd be great to meet you in person. I definitely agree. Yeah. Uh,
Yes.
yeah. So my next question to you is what do you like to do in your spare time when you're not filming? What do you like to do for fun and travel wise?
That's a great question. I have so much fun writing, and I wouldn't tell anybody like professionally this that I would do it for free. But one of my passions is I really love kickboxing. I do the Les Mills classes, and I love like the karate and the kickboxing and punching the air. And I don't know what it is about it, but it just really makes me feel good, and it's just empowering. And so I love doing that. I am a history nerd to the core. I love listening to podcasts about the falls of civilizations and different battles that happened in history, that they just fascinate me. And then of course I have two dogs that steal my attention and my heart on a regular basis. And my oldest son, he is a theater major, so he just graduated. So I really love going to his professional theater shows. And then even the shows he's not in, I do love going to the theater and seeing the live art, watching a theater show, a musical especially. To me, there's something that is so powerful, and the story is so rich because it's live and there's reaction and there's real people delivering it, and it's just so impressive. So I love going to the theater. And then my last love is my husband. He's a coach for the Pop Warner football. So we go on Saturdays, I'll go to the 12U games and the 14U games. And then like this last year, we traveled around the state because they were in the Super Bowl.
Wow.
So so I like, family, community. It's really mostly what I do. And then exercise and health are both very important.
Yes, I agree that that's definitely very, very important, especially health. I definitely agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my next question to you is serious. How do you deal with, how do you deal with racism? Racism, because I know it exists, especially especially in team fields. So how did it affect you now and growing up?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I was very blessed, I think, where I live, that I never noticed. I thought it was just on TV and in the movies that people didn't like someone because of the color of their skin. Like literally until years ago, I just thought that was something that was old school thinking. And I have been very fortunate. I have had a lot of friends of multiple ethnicities, multiple countries of origin that are, first generation, or their parents are first generation in America. So I don't know. I've just been very, I've lived in a bubble, I think. It never crossed my mind. And I think I feel very good that I look at people that way, that I look at people and I don't notice anything else. It makes no sense to me. I think racism is, it just doesn't make any sense to me, because how could you possibly like someone or not like someone because of how they look when you have no clue who they are? So I think as a writer, I get to toy with those ideas. For example, in my book, Clifton Chase on Castle Rock, which is the second book in the series, he goes back in time to help Robin Hood, and there's this big war between two different dwarf communities because of grievances that they carry from their past generations. So I kind of got to explore the idea of slavery and racism and how it affects people through a fantasy story. So for me, I think because it doesn't make sense to me, going into and creating a story world where I can sort of explore it and maybe make it better, maybe change the thinking of people and have the ending be better than it is in real life currently, is one of my favorite things about being a writer.
That's sweet. Sorry, I'll.
Oh yeah, it's been crazy. Our pollen here has been so bad, so I'm with you on that one.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So my next question to you is, what do you think people can do to make the world better, to change the world, in your opinion?
What can my books do?
I'm sorry. I was saying, what can people do in general?
Oh yeah,
To change-
great question. Um, this is gonna sound so cliche, but the Bible talks about the golden rule: treat others the way you want to be treated, not necessarily the way they deserve to be treated, but how you want to be treated. And I don't think anybody in the world wants to feel made fun of, stupid, insecure, unloved, unwelcome. So if none of us feel that way, then none of us would treat anybody that way. We all want to feel heard, seen, accepted, loved, appreciated, wanted. So if we all treated everybody that way, I truly believe that 90% of all the problems would disappear.
Yes.
You're always going to have that margin of people that are just miserable and hateful just because. So you have to know they're always going to be there. But I really think that most of our problems would disappear. And when I go into the schools and I talk to kids about bullying and empathy and the power of their words, this is one of the principles that I try and like leave them with and hope that they take home, is that if we just treat everybody the way we want to be treated, the world would be so much easier to go through.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Were you ever bullied in school or put on as a kid?
I was, I first of all, I was very insecure. So I had a lot of I won't say how self-hate because I think that's too strong, but I really didn't like myself. I was very insecure. So then that would trigger other people who were bullies to see me as a victim, to see me as an easy target. So I did get bullied. And then I also had a tendency to have a soft heart for the underdogs. So a lot of times I was the one that would come in and stand up for somebody who was being bullied because I did know what that felt like. And I did understand that, you know, we don't know what people are going through. So we don't know if they're just having a bad day or a bad month. And maybe that's not their normal behavior, but that's how they're acting out. So I did learn, I think, because of the bullying, that a lot of the times it wasn't me, it was them.
Yeah.
And that just taught me that, you know, sometimes you have to look at other people and go, what is going on in their world that's causing them to take it out on me? And then on the flip side, what am I putting out that's telling people it's okay to treat me this way? So there was a lot of growth that had to come from myself on both of those in and out outlets.
Okay, I definitely understand. Yeah. So, what makes you happy in life?
Um, I think what makes me happy in life is being genuine, following the path and the plan that I feel God has laid out for me. Because what that means is along the way, I might get to do what I want. I might get to write movies and write books and meet kids. But the real truth of what I'm doing is that I'm inspiring people and I'm leaving a legacy and I'm showing people a path to goodness. And to me, it's a wonderful feeling to have someone say, you know, you inspire me and I'm going to go write my book, or I'm going to go do that thing I've been afraid to do because I saw you do it. And, you know, you were successful. So now I think I can be successful. And that really makes me happy. It makes me happy to hear that something that I'm doing with my time is positively affecting someone else's life. If you have a time for a very quick story, when I was writing my first book, Clifton Chase and the Arrow of Light, that's the book that I would go into the schools and talk about bullying. Years later, I went to my son's school when he was in middle school. When he was in high school, years later, I was really depressed because no one was buying my books and nobody knew who I was. And I was like, why am I doing this? And my son stopped me and he goes, Mom, it's not always about the sales. And he said, there's a boy in my school and he came up to me a couple of months ago, but I didn't know how to tell you this. And he said that when you came to our school in middle school, he was planning on killing himself when he got home from school that day. And something you said in your presentation stopped him. So you don't always know why you're doing something or who it's going to affect. You just have to do what God tells you to do, and you have to just do the next right thing and trust that there's a higher power that has a purpose and a plan. And that changed everything for me. That just made every fear and every selfish ambition just disappear because it wasn't about me anymore. It was about me serving.
Yes, I definitely agree. So how do you deal with depression sometimes?
You know, it comes and goes. You have to understand that no matter how happy you are, how good life is, and sometimes for people when it's really good, they get more depressed. But for myself, when I start to feel down about something or I get a rejection, I give myself 24 hours to be miserable,
Uh,
unreasonable, and act like a toddler. And that's it. You know, I'm gonna cry, I'm gonna stomp my feet, I'm gonna feel sorry for myself. No one's allowed to give me any good direction. Everyone just has to pity me and pat my back and say you're right.
mm,
And then after that I move on.
that's what I hear you. That's a good answer. I'm the same way too. Yeah.
You have to feel it sometimes.
Yeah. You know, so yeah. Wow. So have you gone to travel overseas for projects or movies before?
No, how do you mean?
Have you gotten have you gone to just to go out of the US to promote?
Oh, for mine. No, no, I haven't gotten there yet. I mean, Lord willing, yes, one day. My because this is my first movie and it was filmed in Colorado, we don't really have any reason to leave the US yet. But you know, if the next romantic comedy gets picked up by Hallmark, for example, then we would go to Canada. I have a great comic that I'm going to be launching with Cool as Heck. That's Gaijin in Tokyo, and I wrote it when I was in Tokyo. And it's a supernatural crime mystery. So I would love to, you know, turn that into a movie and maybe go over back to Japan because I was there for a month in the late.
Wow.
I think it was 1999, like right before we flipped centuries. And I would love to go back and you know visit and promote that movie. That would be super fun.
Wow. Wow. So what's Japan? So what's Japan like? I always want to go to Japan.
Oh, it was the greatest place I've ever been. I was in Tokyo downtown. It was maybe 20 years old. I don't think I was 21 yet. I might have been. And I was by myself, 2 a.m., walking around, holding my shoes barefoot, completely safe. Like, and this was a long time ago. You know, this was 1999, so who knows how it is now. But it was beautiful. The people were so kind, and you know, like my mom and I, we walked by this wall one day and there was a like a purse sitting on the wall.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh no, someone lost their purse. And she goes, you don't touch it if it's not yours here.
Mhm.
And she said, you'll watch. And we went out and we spent our day and we came home that night and the purse was still sitting on the wall.
Oh,
Whereas in America, we live by what? Finders keepers, right?
huh.
So in America, that purse would have been snatched up and gone in a heartbeat. And it's a different culture. And I absolutely loved it there. I would go back and stay forever right now.
So how come you don't touch the purse dogs?
How come no one touched it? Because it wasn't theirs.
Oh, okay. Ah,
It just, you don't touch it. So whoever's it was, they'll come back for it. Like
oh,
a day, 2 days, who knows?
oh, wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's so different, such a different thinking and mindset. It was very, very interesting.
See, what do you might happen if someone did touch the purse? What do you might happen?
I don't think anything would happen. I think, you know, maybe they would bring it to somebody like a local shop and leave it and somebody would eventually find it. But yeah,
Ah,
I wasn't gonna touch it. That's all I knew is I wasn't gonna touch it.
did you get to go to this Disney World over there? Or
I did.
what was that
We
like?
took the Yeah, it was amazing. We took the bullet train there
Wow.
and yeah, it was so fast, but you didn't feel it. And
Okay.
it was really cool to be in at a like a theme park I knew so well that was just not the same. Um the food was amazing. You
Mhm.
know, it wasn't our American fast food.
Uh-huh.
And it was very clean, which is a Disney. You know, Disney's very clean. But it was just slightly different and quieter. Um, you could always tell when an American was in a bar because they were so loud.
Yeah.
You know, you would have people from Australia and from Japan, obviously, from Taiwan, from India. All of these different cultures would be in the same bar, and the loud, obnoxious, look at me, I'm an American, would walk in the bar. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed to be an American, you know, because
Yeah.
but that's an American thing, you know. I mean, I love America. I'm not embarrassed to be an American, but you understand what I mean. Like being over there and seeing us from someone else's perspective was eye-opening. That
Wow.
we, you know, we walk in like we own the place and it just was different. So it was
Yeah.
different to be on the other side, you know.
I can imagine. Does Japan have deer walking around? I heard they have deer in Japan, deer.
In different areas, yeah. I mean, where we were at, we were in the city, and I know we did go to a couple of other places, like we went to Disney, but we went to a couple of other places, but I don't remember. I mean, I remember there was a beautiful, like a pond and a small river, and there was all these bonsai trees. It was gorgeous, and the cherry trees were in bloom. It was amazing.
Ah,
And then there was a big like Central Park kind of place, but much bigger. And there were like 85 Elvis impersonators in a circle on a Saturday, like just singing and dancing Elvis together. And like nobody batted an eye. They just walked around like it was totally normal. And but I didn't see any deer, but I did see Elvis impersonators.
that's wonderful. That's awesome. Yeah, because like I said, I'm also a fan. I'm also a big fan of Walt Disney World in Florida. You know,
Yes.
have you gone there before? I was just there last.
Oh, I love Disney.
Yeah,
A million times. We were pass holders for a few years, so we would go almost every weekend.
yeah,
And it was, I mean, it was amazing because it even though like you got to where you kind of knew your way around,
yeah.
because we were there every weekend, but it was still magical. Every time, you get off of the ferry or you get off of the monorail and you look at the Magic Kingdom and you pass through the gates and you just like like I'm in the happiest place on earth. And I don't know, you can just feel it. You can just feel the magic, and I love it.
Yeah, I was just there last month for Christmas. It was wonderful Christmas. Yeah.
Well, next time you're down in Florida at Disney, you definitely let me know because I'm 45 minutes away and I'll come say hi. I'll come have coffee with you.
Thank you. I might be there in July, so we'll definitely plan time to
Oh, yes, that would be amazing.
So either May, June, July, we'll definitely meet. Okay, so that's a blessing, you know. Yeah.
Perfect.
So when were you last? So when were you last at Disney World? When were you last?
I was there like after 2020, after the apocalypse hit. We went to I can't remember the name of the park. Is it MGM Studios where they have all the Star Wars stuff? Because they had that new ride. So we went there, and it was lovely because of the COVID restrictions. So there were you can only have one or two people in a store at the same time, and you had to stay like 5 feet apart in the line. There was barely anyone there, so the lines went very quick.
Uh-huh.
But there was no entertainment, so it was like it wasn't Disney. There weren't people singing and people in the streets dancing, and that part I missed because I'm into musicals.
Yeah.
So that was sort of sad, but that was the last time I've gone. I have not gone since it's reopened, and COVID restrictions have pretty much disappeared at this point here.
See, have you gone on Space Mountain? Have you gone on Space Mountain?
When I was a little girl, I don't have the courage to go back on it.
Yeah. It goes a little fast. It goes real fast, right?
It's dark and fast, and I think you go backwards at one point. I don't remember.
Okay.
I'll do Thunder Mountain. I'll do Thunder Mountain like 50 times in a row. I love that ride, but
I love it.
Space Mountain,
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I love Dr. Mountain too. That's the best ride in the park, you know. Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. The best part is getting to see Mickey and Minnie. I love them, you know, Goofy, you know. So yeah,
Yes, the classics for sure.
yeah. Have you also gone? Have you also gone to SeaWorld or Universal Studios and Busch Gardens?
Yes. Yeah, I haven't gone to Busch Gardens since I was very young, probably sixth grade. But yeah, we go to SeaWorld. I like SeaWorld at Christmas. They have the Polar Express and the polar bears, which is awesome, and this monster tree in the Arctic, which is beautiful. And Universal is really fun. My son works there, so we would go. He would get like a free pass every month or 3 months or something. So we would go sometimes for that and just walk around. Or we would go. You can go eat there
Mhm.
outside of the park in the City Walk area, which is kind of a nice, the same as downtown Disney. It's like you're kind of at the parks, but you don't have to spend all the money to get in, so you can just go out for a few hours and shop and eat and enjoy a little bit of entertainment and then come home. So I I mean, I love living here. This is
Yeah.
a wonderful place to live. My parents actually lived in Natick for a while. My dad he worked at MFS off Boylston Street in downtown.
Uh-huh.
So it was lovely there. I went there for a few weeks and stayed with them, and I really enjoyed the Boston area as well. It was beautiful.
Yeah,
Totally different.
I'm actually trying to move. I'm actually trying to move to Florida myself. You know, to get out
Nice.
of the snow. You know, so yeah, so I'm thinking. So
Yeah,
yeah, so
for sure.
I applied to the University of Central Florida to go to school down there. So for the fall, so maybe I can move down there. Down there, Boston's okay, but it's just too cold now. So I want to be real
Yeah.
torn. So yeah,
Yeah, I can't under 70, I'm done.
yeah,
So
yeah. So for me, it's either California or Florida. No more cold. So I'm trying to find.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Do you plan to do any more Comic Cons maybe in Boston or
Oh, I would love to. Right now, I think most of my Comic Cons, except for the Atlanta Comic Con, are all Florida based.
okay?
But yeah, the once we build a couple of more comics, then we'll be branching out a little bit further. I have friends in North Carolina and I have friends in Virginia, so I'd like to, maybe hit some comics in the mid region of the Northeast. And then yeah, work my way up. I think that would be super fun. I would love that. And
Yeah.
then eventually get to California, right, for the big one. Maybe even New York for their con, because I know theirs is a big one too.
Yeah, definitely. Because I've done some Comic Cons. I love Comic Con. I'm a big Comic Con fan. So yeah.
Do you dress up and do the cosplay, or do you just go and hang out?
I just go hang out and be the stars.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
it's
me.
so fun.
Yeah, definitely it's funny. I highly recommend it for everybody who wants to go. But yeah, yeah. Wow. Well, so this is wonderful interview. Getting to meet you, learn more about the story. I really enjoyed the time together. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So how can we follow you on social media again? Contact with you if you want to send you scripts to look at.
Yeah, my social media is my name at Jaimie Engle Writes. It's the easiest way to find me. Mostly I'm on Facebook and LinkedIn. And as far as sending scripts, I because I'm a script writer myself, I don't really have time for taking on any outside IP at the moment. I think, once I get my foot in the door a little more steadily and I have a better understanding, then I would really love to put on that full-time producer hat and then be able to jump in full throttle with getting the scripts and doing exactly that. So and then my website is the same. It's jaimieengle.com. You can head over there. And then I do have a monthly newsletter that goes out. It gives a lot of the inside information about what's going on with my movies and TV shows and books that I can't quite share publicly yet. So I'll put a lot of that in the newsletters to thank my fans for really, taking their time to support me and follow me. And I do a monthly drawing for a free giveaway to say thank you every month. So those are the best ways to reach me.
It's wonderful. And is also possible to maybe audition for one of your plays if you want to meet you for your plays. I'd love to audition sometime. If I'm in Florida. Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah. If there's ever anything being filmed that I have any say in, like the production side of it, then I would most likely put that out in my newsletter or put it in a blog post on my website to make that known. So for sure, if there's anything going on, I will definitely let you know.
Thank you. That's a wonderful. Okay. Yeah. Are there any questions you want to ask me now?
Well, no, I mean, I just think you did an excellent interview. Your questions were so good and so well organized, and I really appreciated how smoothly and you transitioned from question to question. It was very professional and a lot of questions I've never been asked before, so I appreciate that. So my only question to you is twofold. First, it's how long have you been doing this? And second is what made you want to do this?
Okay, well, I started doing this back in 2020. I started working on Boston Neighborhood Network, and I did an internship program. So I learned how to do radio, television, film production, working on films, set up films, how to do camera, and I just fell in love with it. It's like because I also want to work, because I also want to work on film or being an actor myself. So that's it.
Yeah. You got bit. We both got bit. We got bit by the film bug, and now it's like, why would you want to do anything else? It's hard.
Like a dream come true because I got to meet so many stars, and I was able to get a podcast to do the radio station and just interview people like yourself. So I just fell in love with it. It's like, wow, this is what I want to do. So I went back to school and got my associate's degree in liberal arts, and I'm trying to go to school in Florida to get my bachelor's in communications, like in the media and film. Yeah. So I think that.
Awesome.
I think having that degree is almost a wonderful door for me. So because this it's like a dream come true. So I love it.
Yeah, I think you found your calling for sure. You are excellent at this.
Thank you. It's just thank you. It means a lot to hear that from you. I truly appreciate it. So.
Oh, of course. Thank you so much for this. This has been an absolutely wonderful afternoon.
And definitely stay in touch, we'll talk more, and I'm always here. Okay. So I appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a wonderful rest of your day and stay warm.
Take care. Thanks again. Bye-bye.
Bye.